There's something paradoxical about the INFJ. You are soft-spoken, patient, deeply kind, and yet, there's a quiet storm inside you that very few have ever truly seen. Most people only experience your gentleness, your patience, your warmth. They see the compassion in your eyes, the calm in your voice, the endless way you try to understand, forgive, and give. They think your niceness is who you are in full. But what they don't understand is that beneath that serene exterior lies something powerful, precise, and unyielding. When pushed too far, when someone crosses that sacred line between your empathy and your integrity, something awakens inside you that even you can't fully explain. Because the truth is, INFJs are not just nice people. They are nice because they choose to be. But when provoked, when betrayed, when disrespected or repeatedly misunderstood, that same kindness transforms into clarity, detachment, and an almost terrifying form of emotional power. Today, we're going to uncover the 8 deep psychological reasons why INFJs are the nicest people, but also the most dangerous when provoked. Not dangerous in a violent sense, but in the way they can shift from love to absolute distance, from empathy to indifference, from connection to silence that speaks louder than words ever could. Let's go deep into the INFJ psyche, the world where kindness is sacred and boundaries are divine. 1. They have the courage to walk away without hate. There's a sacred kind of strength in the INFJ's ability to walk away with grace. You don't leave to hurt anyone. You leave because staying would dishonor your soul. When someone pushes you beyond forgiveness, when they repeatedly show they can't value your heart, you don't seek revenge, you seek peace. You choose yourself. That moment of walking away is when the world sees your true power. You detach with love, without hate, without destruction. You let go not because you stopped caring, but because you cared too much to keep living in dissonance. And to the people who thought your kindness was dependence, your departure feels like losing the sun. They realize too late that your presence was a gift. Your niceness was not a guarantee, it was a privilege. You are the nicest person because your heart holds empathy for everyone. But you are the most dangerous because you know when it's time to close the door for good. 2. They protect peace more fiercely than anything else. For the INFJ, peace is sacred. You don't just want calm surroundings, you need them to survive. Chaos drains you. Conflict erodes your spirit. That's why you build your world around serenity, kindness, and understanding. But that same devotion to peace makes you fiercely protective of it. You'll go to great lengths to maintain harmony, to keep things stable, to soothe and heal. Yet, when someone repeatedly disturbs that peace, when they bring toxicity, disrespect, or deceit, you don't just defend your boundaries, you rebuild your life without them in it. Your danger lies in your ability to completely reset your emotional universe. You can cut energetic ties so thoroughly that it's as if the person never existed. That's not cruelty, it's survival. You protect your peace because you've learned that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And once you understand that, your kindness becomes selective, your compassion becomes sacred, and your world becomes impenetrable to anything that doesn't align with your truth. 3. Their niceness comes from depth, not weakness. For the INFJ, kindness isn't performative, it's spiritual. You don't try to be kind because it's expected, you're kind because it's your nature to understand pain. Your heart recognizes suffering in others the way a mirror reflects light, it just happens naturally. You see through people's smiles, you sense what's unsaid, and because of that, you often go out of your way to comfort, to help, to heal. But this depth is also what makes your kindness so misunderstood. People mistake your calm energy for passivity. They think your understanding means you'll tolerate anything. What they fail to realize is that your niceness is not born from fear of confrontation. It's born from an inner choice to elevate above chaos. Yet, when someone starts to abuse that kindness, when they interpret your peace as permission to take advantage, they awaken something in you that no one expects. The part that knows your limits, the part that recognizes manipulation for what it is. When provoked, INFJs don't explode. They simply withdraw the energy that once nourished everything around them. And that's when people realize, your kindness was never weakness. It was power, disguised in compassion. 4. Their boundaries are invisible until they are crossed. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the INFJ personality is their invisible boundary system. To the outside world, it seems like you have none. You listen endlessly, you forgive easily, you help repeatedly. But what most don't understand is that INFJs operate with spiritual boundaries, not obvious ones. You let people in quietly. You absorb, observe, and give space for others to be themselves. But deep within you, there's a line, an energetic threshold, that no one sees until it's crossed. And once that boundary is crossed, something inside you shifts instantly. The warmth fades. The intuitive light dims. You stop giving explanations. You stop seeking understanding. That's when the INFJ's danger emerges, not because you become cruel, but because you become untouchable. You detach with grace, but your silence becomes absolute. It's not revenge, it's reclamation. And for those who once depended on your emotional generosity, your withdrawal feels like punishment. They realize, often too late, that your boundaries existed all along. They just never noticed them until your absence revealed their importance. 5. They are masters of emotional alchemy. INFJs don't just feel emotions, they transmute them. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment of heartbreak becomes fuel for deeper understanding. You process pain differently. You don't lash out, you reflect. You don't retaliate, you transform. But this emotional alchemy has a dual edge. It's what makes you capable of immense forgiveness, but it's also what makes you profoundly dangerous when pushed too far. Because once you've turned pain into wisdom, you no longer have any emotional attachment to the person or situation that caused it. You simply outgrow it. That's the INFJ's silent power. You move on internally long before you move on physically. By the time someone realizes they've lost access to your heart, you've already rewritten the emotional script of that story. And no amount of apology or effort can pull you back once you've emotionally evolved beyond them. Your niceness is transformative, but your detachment is final. That's what makes you beautifully gentle, but terrifyingly resolute. 6. Their insight cuts deeper than people realize. INFJs possess an uncanny ability to see patterns in people, relationships, and behaviors. It's what gives you that almost mystical aura, as if you can read minds or sense the future. When people lie to you, you usually know. When they manipulate, you sense it instantly. But instead of calling it out, you wait. You observe. You confirm. You give people the chance to reveal who they really are. And they always do. This quiet observational power is what makes INFJs dangerous in a psychological sense. Because by the time someone thinks they're winning a game against you, you've already read the entire playbook. You just choose not to engage. Your insight allows you to protect yourself not through confrontation, but through awareness. You don't need to fight. You just step aside and let truth dismantle what doesn't belong in your life. It's a graceful kind of danger. One that comes from understanding people so deeply that their attempts to manipulate or deceive can never truly reach you. 7. Their patience has limits, and when it ends completely. INFJs are infinitely patient, until they're not. You can endure misunderstanding, tolerate immaturity, and forgive mistakes more than most types ever could. But there's a moment, a quiet, invisible breaking point, where your patience transforms into stillness. This is the INFJ's emotional threshold. Once it's crossed, your entire relationship to the situation shifts. You stop seeking resolution. You stop hoping they'll change. You simply accept. And that acceptance is the most dangerous form of peace. Because it means you've emotionally disconnected. You no longer argue, explain, or try to fix what's broken. You become calm, not because you're okay, but because you've decided you no longer wish to participate. And to the other person, that sudden stillness feels like standing in the eye of a storm, beautiful, silent, and final. INFJs don't destroy relationships, they end them with quiet certainty. And that is far more unsettling than anger ever could be. 8. They mirror the energy they receive. INFJs are emotional mirrors. You reflect back the energy that others bring to you. When people are kind, you become radiantly kind. When they are honest, you open your heart without hesitation. But when someone brings deception, disrespect, or cruelty, you reflect it not by imitation, but by withdrawal. You show them the absence of their own goodness through your silence. You make them confront their own reflection, the emptiness of their actions, the weight of their own choices. This mirror effect is part of why INFJs seem so mysterious. People often find themselves changed after knowing you. Some evolve. Others crumble. But none leave untouched. When provoked, your niceness doesn't vanish, it transforms into still reflection. You make people face themselves without saying a word. And that's what makes you quietly, devastatingly powerful. INFJs are the paradox of gentle strength. You are the calm before the storm, the healer who can become the boundary, the dreamer who can turn into the wall. You live with open hands but guarded soul. You love deeply, but you know when to stop. People think being nice makes you easy to manipulate. But in your case, kindness is not weakness, it's wisdom. You understand that anger solves nothing, and silence often speaks more powerfully than confrontation ever could. When you're kind, it's real. When you're patient, it's intentional. And when you're done, it's final. That's why you are the nicest person, but the most dangerous when provoked. Because your danger doesn't come from destruction. It comes from discernment. From the quiet, unwavering knowledge of your worth. From the sacred decision to protect your peace, your energy, and your heart. And so, to every INFJ listening, remember this: your niceness is a light, but it's also a weapon of truth. Don't dim it for anyone. Let people learn from the warmth you give, and let them understand the silence you leave behind. Both are your language. Both are your power. You are not just nice. You are intentional. You are wise. And when provoked, you become the living embodiment of balance, the calmest storm that ever was.